Hello, BookTube. I started off the other day, same as I always do, not very interesting. Around 5, I wake up, immediately turn on the laptop, and deal with pending mail of a professional nature. So anything uh, editorial or freelance wise that is accumulated overnight, so I don't check my email overnight. I deal with that right away. Then close the laptop and gently wake up my old frail, ailing dog. I help her down off the bed, help her down the back step, help her down the sidewalk, help her to pee, help her to poop, help her back up the driveway, help her up the back step. By then she's exhausted, so I give her a squishy treat, and then gently help her back into bed. And then to start my day, I watch a bunch of BookTube videos. I watched the BookTube videos that accumulated while I wasn't doing anything, because starting at midnight every night, I turn off everything and just devote that time to reading. And usually for hours before that, if I'm having a good writing night, I'm doing very little of anything else. I'm not paying much attention either. So there's always plenty to catch up on because I subscribe to so many BookTube channels. And when I did it the other day, I encountered right away not one, but two really good discussion videos back to back. And the more I thought about them in the course of the ensuing couple of days, the more I've thought that they are about the same thing. So, of course, I wanted to put in my 2 cents worth. The first one was by the Bald Book Geek, wonderful channel that you should all subscribe to if you don't already. He's good with discussion videos. When something's on his mind, he takes the time to think about it, formulate it, and then makes a video about it. And he did this time about the BookTube divide, or as one of the comments on the video said, the two BookTubes. On the one hand, the channels, usually with more subscribers, but not always, the channels where the person gets in front of a camera and it's smooth and it's polished and it's insular. They don't respond to comments. They don't interact with people who are watching their channel, except for, you get the impression, a very small group of people who are the clique they originally got into BookTube with, that they originally started to know. As the Bald Book Geek points out, if they do a tag, they tag the same people over and over again, and are tagged by the same people. And a lot of people, he said in his video, and a lot of people in his comments said that they might watch some of those channels, but they don't even try to interact anymore. And on the other side of the BookTube divide, the other BookTube, is the amateur BookTube, in all the good senses of that word. The BookTube where somebody just sets up their laptop or their camera in their room, maybe with, as he points out, maybe a messy background, and just talks about books. What they've read, what they've got, what they've seen, what they couldn't finish, what they're getting rid of, what they hope to read, all that sort of stuff. And I thought that was fascinating. For somebody to make a clear video on the two BookTubes. That's something we all know exists. And then the next video I watched was also a discussion video, and it was by the Mighty Olive at a Book Olive. And it was about booktuber imposter syndrome, where she admits in the video, remarkable, coming from someone with no lack of self-confidence and with a large amount of subscribers and very healthy viewership, and a long time on BookTube, as she points out in the video, admitting that sometimes she still feels like a BookTube imposter. Like, do I have the credentials to do this, to talk about books in front of an audience? And she mentions inadvertently knowing that it's wrong, but doing it anyway, just sort of involuntarily comparing her Goodreads profile and the books read section on it to other people on Goodreads, or maybe watching other BookTube channels and wondering, how her own measures up. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating as well. And I think they talk about the same thing, because you can't have an imposter syndrome unless you're aware of people that are either in your mind or are purporting to be people who are the genuine item, right? An imposter syndrome is entirely a comparative action. And when she confesses that she sometimes still feels that way, she's sort of pitching that part of her video at people who are new to BookTube, or who might be thinking about starting a BookTube channel, as sort of an astonishing act of admission to say, I'm by no means a newbie here. I'm a veteran, and I still sometimes feel this way. And I was thinking about those two things for days now, mixing them around in my head and trying to come up with what was bothering me about them. And I finally came up with it, and it deals with the BookTube imposter syndrome that Olive mentions, because an imposter is someone who is trying to convince you that they are something other than what they are. In other words, an imposter is not someone who believes there's something other than what they are. No, an imposter knows they're lying. They're trying to convince you that they're not. They know they're one thing, and they're trying to convince you there's something else. And if that's the case, and of course that's the definition of imposter. So if there is such a thing as BookTube imposter syndrome, I would put forward in this video that the people who suffer from it are the people on the other side of the BookTube divide that the Bald Book Geek talks about. The people who aren't themselves on camera. The people who are trying to sell you, for one reason or another, a persona that isn't anything like the one they actually have. I've mentioned before on this channel the image that I have in my head of some of those booktubers, plenty of whom I watch. I can just easily imagine that the minute they turn the camera off, they slump in their chair and say, well, that crap's over for another week. And these are the people who, in one particular case that I know of, offhandedly refer to their subscribers as vermin, using that word. Or in another case that I know of, where a subscriber with a booktuber with over 20,000 subscribers was talking with friends about who also have successful channels about their comments field, and the minute the word comments field came up, one of the friends just cheerily said, "Oh, don't feed the trolls," and there was a laugh around the table. And the clear implication was not, don't feed the trolls in your comment section. The clear implication was, your comment section is trolls. The only people you need feedback from are us, the ones around this table with you, not anybody else. The only people that you need to engage with here are us. In other words, there is a group of booktubers for whom this right here, this filming platform, this partition, the cell phone, the camera, the iPad, the laptop, whatever it is a wall, and they are performing on a stage, and the performance has nothing to do with who they really are. So they might decide, for whatever reason, even sometimes mercenary reasons, commercial reasons, they might decide to act like, I don't know, an affable goofball, maybe someone who likes dogs, or just your ordinary plain talking gal, y'all. But that's how they act on camera. But in reality, they're perfectly happy to call you vermin when you're not around to hear it, or, to organize a cyber hate mob on the basis of a comment and without contacting you at all, and to keep it going, just out of sheer malice. So in cases like that, where someone turns on the camera and then leaps in front of it, pinwheeling their arms and doing their best bad Hank Green impersonation, and then the minute the camera's off, they go back to being, a pack-a-day cynic who hasn't actually finished a book since high school. Those people are the imposters. They're the ones who are suffering from BookTube imposter syndrome. If you're getting in front of the camera, I'm not saying, no preparation whatsoever. Of course, you want to be presentable as much as you can. Some of us are disaster artists, so it's not going to help anyway. But you want to know a rough idea of what you want to say. You don't want, in my opinion, you don't want to be pretending that you're, alone. So you don't want to get up and answer the doorbell. You don't want to slurp food and talk around it with it sloshing around in your mouth while you're talking to an audience of people. Quite a different thing to do a drunk BookTube video where you're sipping wine. But impositions on your viewers is one thing. Clearing those up is not false at all. It's the same thing you would do if you had a guest in your home, I would presume. But you're still being yourself. And I get the strong impression that that is true in both the discussion videos that I watch. I have a feeling, I've never met him, but I have a feeling that the Bald Book Geek puts a pretty high premium on being frank with everyone at all times. I have a feeling there isn't a price that you could pay him that would make him be fake. And I've actually met Olive in real life. And I can assure you, she is every bit the shy and retiring daffodil that she appears in her videos. And that's the point that I wanted to make here. I was buzzing around in my head wondering, okay, you've always hated the pro booktubers. You've always thought, why are you doing this when it comes to books? The most personal and genuine thing that anyone can do. Why are you contaminating this world with hey, I'm going to hold this up. I was paid to praise it. Why are you doing that? And if you have 1,000 subscribers, 300 subscribers, then you don't even have a financial incentive. You're just being fake for the fun of it. You're practicing being fake for what you hope will be a lifetime of being well paid to be fake. Well, why can't you do that with some other hobby instead of books? But I was trying to think. I've always disliked those kind of booktubers. I watch a lot of their channels. I don't know, in some sense, a way of support, just to show support, even though the Bald Book is completely right. They don't want my support. They'll never acknowledge it. But I watch a lot more of the amateur booktubers. They make up a far greater percentage of what I watch in any given week and what I like to watch. People who, they, like I said, they might be cleaning up their affect just a bit for the camera, but they are who they seem to be. And I haven't made any secret of the fact that that's where my affections as a viewer lie on this channel. I was thinking, okay, your viewers already know that you kind of sort of think that way. What is it? There's something more that's pulling at you to say, and it's not crystallizing. And then it finally did when I rewatched Olive's video, and she was talking about, what if there's a week or a month where I only read 6 books? How do I do a wrap-up if I know there are people out there who read 10 books in a month or 15 books in a month? Why would they listen to me if they can listen to someone who's done twice as much? And that's when I was sort of talking to the screen. That's when I realized my own thing that I want to say to booktubers who are brand new or who are thinking about making their own channel and who might be having these same discussions themselves. That's the point I want to make. A successful BookTube channel is one in which your viewers want to watch you. And that's it. Not competitive. Not head count. They're not caring how many books you've read in a week or a month. They want to watch you. And if at the end of a month you haven't read any books, a successful BookTube channel will be one in which you have built up a rapport through contact, through interaction, through being genuine, to such an extent that at the end of that month, with no books to report, you can get in front of a camera, make a 10-minute video, and not lose a single subscriber. That's a genuine booktuber. Those are the people that we want to get to know. Those are the people that I want to watch and get to know. I want to watch your bookish life, even if your bookish life is bottoming out, even if it's not turning out that well right now. I want to watch it just to watch it get better. And I want to hear the reasons why it's bottoming out. And also the same thing if the numbers are there but small, or if they're huge. One way or another, I think, especially those of you who are new or are thinking about starting, I think that's the sort of booktuber that we ought to encourage. I don't really think that we should be encouraging anybody to be glad-faced and artificial and self-consciously hypocritical, phony. I don't think we should be encouraging anybody to grow and make far more popular a channel that they think is watched by vermin. So I think instead we should be concentrating on the genuine. I can't help but think that the genuine accounts for my own audience, because what else could there be? It's true that my advent on BookTube was largely accompanied by a bit of a controversy, but that's a long time ago now, and yet my subscriber number it still continues to inch upwards, and I certainly don't have neat, perfect background. And I've got smallpox scars from 1872. And as I've said many times, both in person and on camera, half the time in this channel, I'm just amusing myself. I'm telling jokes and quoting Broadway shows and classical texts that maybe 10 people are getting, and I'm not even clear about it half the time. So it has to be this channel and Olive's channel and the Bald Bookies channel, a bunch of other channels that I can mention. It has to be that rapport has been established. That it doesn't matter how much I read in a month or how many books I get in a month. It matters that you want to check in with me. And I bet that's true with a lot of your favorite booktubers, that you want to check in with them. You can't get the feeling of checking in with someone if they don't check back. So I don't really know. That's the main point I wanted to make is, please, if you're new to this, just make videos about your love of books. They don't have to be new books. They don't have to be different books. They don't have to be a lot of books. They don't have to be anything of the kind. Tell us about your love of books. That's all. As far as a prescription for what to do, though, I don't really think there is one. If a 20-year-old kid can think, well, here's all the BookTube in front of me. I've been watching it for months, and this is the model that appeals to me. I'm going to act like a spastic lunatic on camera, even though none of my friends have ever seen me act that way. And it's going to be a strain, of course, because I'm acting like nothing like what I am. And I'm going to blame the strain on the viewers, because I'm going to say they demanded, and I'm just not up to making a video. When you're the one who decided to do that. You didn't have to decide to film a deceitful alternate version of yourself. You didn't have to decide to film an imposter. You could have filmed yourself. So I guess my prescription, since it feels wrong not to end a ranty video with a prescription, would be that those of you who are new or who are thinking about starting, don't do that. We don't need any more booktubers like that. We have more than enough booktubers like that. And a lot of them have made a big success out of it. Good for them. I hope they're happy with it. Although every single month there's a new video from one of them getting in front of the camera after months away and saying, it was just too much of a strain. Well, okay. Those of you who are new and wondering whether or not that's the path to take, that's the video you're going to be making in a year. So, weigh whether or not it's worth it. I would strongly suggest, as the prescriptive end of the video, that you don't do that. That instead, just clean up your background, put on a new shirt, and talk about, it doesn't even have to be a new shirt, obviously. And tell us about yourself. Tell us about your love of books, and tell us about the books in your life at the moment. That's fine. That's all you need to do. And I believe that if you do that, you'll only suffer a little from BookTube imposter syndrome, and you'll be on the right side of the BookTube Pro Am divide. But anyway, I'm going to get back to talking about books. I just had to chime in. I'll see you soon. Thank you.